Alright, so you've got your tissue culture. This one I've already cut open, but it's going to come in a bag with this gel down here. It's called agar. You're going to kind of push around the roots. Just be careful and gentle. Once you do that, you can take it out of the bag. Let me do that real quick. Out of the bag. This is a Jacqueline Aurea alocasia. As you can see, you're gonna have some of that gel still stuck to your roots. You want to make sure you get all of that off. If you do not get it all off, you will cause rot on your roots and down here at the stem. Okay, so once you have that out, you're gonna throw it in a sink or in water or whatever. I use warm water. It just seems to work a little better. So I throw it in there. And then you're going to leave it in there for no less than 10 minutes. I leave them in here for about 30 minutes in warm water just to get all that gel off. Okay, so I'm going to let it soak and then we'll be back. They have been soaking for a little longer than 30 minutes. I forgot about them for a little bit. Anyway, moving on. So once you have them all soaked, you're going to want to switch the roots around. I give them another extra rinse, and I use some hydrogen peroxide, which I'm running out of, just to make sure the roots are fully clean. Do you have to? No. Do I like to? Yes. So besides that, you're going to want to take off any dead stuff. So usually it does fall off after they've been soaking, but just in case it doesn't, let me see if I have one. So any of this dead stuff, like right here, down around the end, especially if it's near any of your new roots, you want to try and get it off as best you can. You can use a really soft toothbrush to get it off. I choose not to. They're really not as complicated as people make them out to be. I feel like the more you stress over it, the more you try to make this harder, the worse they're going to do. They don't need to be super babied. People are still pretty afraid of tissue culture, and you don't need to be. If I can do it, trust me, you can do it. So peel that stuff off. Any dead stuff, make sure the agar is off. Give it a good swish. Okay, and then if you feel like it, this is how I do it. And it's out, so that's okay. But basically that's what I do. I rinse them off, dump some hydrogen peroxide on there. I'm sorry, I'm just using my cell phone for this, and I'm not really looking at the screen, so I apologize if you can't see perfectly, but this is just a simple guide for you anyway, to get started. So now, after I take off all the dead stuff and rinse all the roots one more really good time, we will pot these up, and then I'll show you what I use for each one. In this batch I have alocasia and monstera. This is a white monster, and one little philodendron. This is a philodendron atom, which are hard to get your paws on right now, and plants that are a little bigger than this are costing ridiculous amount of money right now. So this is the way to get your dream plant without a huge price tag, is to go tissue culture. So yeah, We got quite a few babies here to work with, so let's get them all cleaned up and potted. Great, so this is my little bucket that I just keep the substrate in. So I have moss over here that I use for certain plants, and then I have, this is perlite, stratum, tiny bit of soil, some more castings, some systemic granules mixed over here. Okay, so typically I use moss for philodendron and monstera. Why? I don't know. It just seems, from my experience, they do better in this. For alocasia, I use this mix. You do not want your tissue cultures to dry out, okay? So we'll get into that here in a minute, but first let's get a couple of these potted. So you can buy those fancy little dome cups, those self-watering corm cups, whatever suits your setup or whatever your preference is. I just use these little bathroom cups. If I'm growing from corm, though, for alocasia, I will use the corm cups. Let me show you really quick. Like these ones. So this is my batik. They do get kind of nasty, so you'll have to clean them quite often. I actually just filled this back up, and it's already pretty gross. But for corms, when they start sprouting roots, I will use one of these, and these you can get on Amazon or Temu. I did get these on Temu, and they're pretty good, actually. This one just graduated out of one of those cups and is now in moss, and it's doing really well. So water roots are different from soil roots. You do not want to go from water straight to soil. You will lose all your roots. And that's for just about any plant. Okay, so water to moss to soil, or whatever you're going to keep it in permanently. Do not go straight from water to dirt. You will lose your plant more than likely. Okay? All right, so back to this. When you put your substrate in there, do not let your roots sit on the bottom. For these, you're going to make sure you have a little bit of a reservoir of water in there, okay? So you do not want the bottom sitting like that. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in water in your reservoir, and you do not want to do that. It's the fastest way to rot your plant. Pull it up halfway, okay? Put some soil or whatever in the bottom that you're using. Obviously here I'm using the mix I just showed you. Put some in there, then put your plant, and then put more. Give me one moment. All right, so like this, okay? If you have any rooting hormone, or if you prefer to put anything on, now's a good time to do it. A lot of times I will put like the fungi granules. I can never pronounce it, but let me show you. I'll have to find a picture of it. I think I ran out. Anyway, so about right here, okay? And then we're going to top it off. There you go. If you're using a prop box, which I am, there's all my previously deflasked babies, which are doing really well. If you're using a prop box, you usually I would cut a slit right here, but until these guys are acclimated, I will not do that. Like I said, we'll have a reservoir down here of water, and obviously you don't want that to be running out, especially with alocasia. So we're going to put some water in here and put it in the prop box. And then you will, I just use plastic wrap right now for the cover. Hey, whatever works, right? It works great, actually. It keeps it really humid in there. I just couldn't find the cover, honestly. I'm going to try and turn this so you could see. I don't know if you can really see, but if you look right here, you can see how far up the water is when it's flat, and it's really only to right here. You do not want it up where your roots are. Like I said, fastest way to rot your plant. Let your roots grow down to where the water is, okay? So also don't forget to label your plants. If you buy a bunch at one time like I do, I always take a picture of them while they're still in the plastic, and then I take a picture of it right after I take it out. That way there, when it comes to labeling, I don't get them confused. My memory is not what it used to be, so do what you gotta do to make sure you don't forget what it is. Especially if you're reselling these, you want to know exactly what it is, in case you have people that are looking for specifics. Okay, so this guy, I'm gonna join its friends down in here. Try not to let your leaves touch the side, like this guy. I have found that sometimes your leaves will stick to it and it gets humid in there, obviously, and the side over here will end up wet. You do not want your leaf sitting on a wet surface like that. It will eventually rot away. So try not to do that when you put them in the box. Alright, I apologize for my camera. I did drop it and crack it. But for the Monstera, this is a white monster. Monstera, super cute. Has this giant long root here. For these, be careful not to snap it off, but just take your moss and wrap it around the root and around the base of your plant. Okay, and then just shove it in the cup gently. Shove it in the cup, but be careful that you're not breaking anything. Okay. You don't want it super packed down either, because your root won't have anywhere to spread out and grow. But otherwise, that's it. Goes in the prop box and will stay there for a few weeks, or until I leave them in there until they're like popping up out of the plastic. So, but that's it. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. But do I do all the iodine and all the extra stuff? No. Do I ever have an issue with plants? Of course we all do. There's a lot of times, you know, your favorite one or one might not make it, but if you follow these steps, you'll have much better success. I promise you. Thank you for watching.